Friday, November 22nd. FYI, I have some news. I do have some news. I am an actual influencer on YouTube. Okay. If you watch YouTube videos like I do, I mean, it's brain dead entertainment for me. I watch typically educational stuff like tech stuff, productivity stuff, dog stuff. I watch health stuff, and I watch lawn stuff. Okay. That's essentially my entire YouTube stream is like that. But I got an email yesterday from Surfshark. If you've ever watched an influencer on YouTube, I got an email from Surfshark VPN, and they want me to sponsor. They want to sponsor the show. It makes no sense to me for a stock podcast to have a VPN. Maybe it does. I don't know. I'm going to put in the Spotify thing, maybe in the newsletter. Maybe I'll put it in the newsletter, but I'm going to try and put up a thing. Should I take a sponsorship from Surfshark? Because I don't have sponsors. My ass don't have sponsors. I don't even know how popular I am. I mean, Spotify keeps reaching out to me and telling me how popular I am in top 50 in the business podcasts in the world. I don't know. I mean, Substack with my newsletter, They have specific people assigned to me since I'm a bestseller. I have no idea. But now this is the moment. And yeah, we may have a special episode, coming up. If you remember the 80s, during those, some of you are too young to remember this, but there were like comedies, like sitcoms, and during sweeps, they would have on a very special episode. And it would be like Webster, that little kid, Webster, who got adopted. They had a special episode of touching. Why are you traumatizing little kids with this sitcom oh God, it boggles my mind. But I am absolutely an influencer. So again, hail to me if I had a little applause button, or you guys just do the golf clap. At your house, do the golf clap. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I don't know if I should take it. I probably won't. Because, listen, the reality is I don't do this for the money. It is what it is. I have tons of people reaching out to me all the time. I was just shocked at that one. It's Friday, so typically we just kind of go over stuff and summarize the week, summarize where we are. But I will tell you that's what I'm going to do tomorrow on the paid newsletter. So the paid newsletter, they get a free podcast. I'm going to do it. I'm going to also look at next week's earnings. But here on today's podcast, we're going to go over the Trendspider AI. The AI Strategy Lab that they had. It was amazing. And Alpha Picks, I've been getting a lot of questions about Alpha Picks. How do you do your portfolio? I'll just tell you what you were. The biggest movers of the day, including Reddit, Gap, and more. Google we'll talk about. NVDIA we'll talk about, because I'm going to show you a list that will blow your mind if you don't own Goober right now. Brad Gerstner, some of his moves yesterday. Snowflake went nuts. And MicroStrategy, if you didn't see it, it got killed yesterday. There was a short report. We'll go over that one. Why I'm still in there, and what Michael Saylor just said on CNBC, because next year's target for him is insane. Shai Bulor, I had a discussion with him on Spaces yesterday about stuff, and we'll talk about a bunch of other stuff. There's a ton of scans, by the way, so we're in a bull market until we're not. It is a bull market. So let's talk about the Qs. Looking at the chart here. Nothing too exciting. I mean, we're right up at that 503, 504 level. It's a Friday. Do you want to buy? Right now, the algorithm has you out, but the MACD's curling it up. The RSI is at 52 on the 4-hour. We go and look at the weekly, and you're just kind of hanging out. It's not super extended. It is extended. You are 14 points above the oscillator line on the MACD, which means you're extended. The RSI is at 60. The volume's trending down. The price is still going up, and you've got confirmation above that 9-day. Bollinger Bands are super tight, but they haven't really expanded out since this time back in October of 2023 on the weekly. So that was when they became really close, and we've been up since then. So again, we're in a bull market until we're not. One thing that I am getting a lot of questions about in the Facebook group, and we'll go over to the Facebook group. It's a private group. If you want to join the Facebook group right here on Linktree, it costs you nothing. It's just, you have to answer who's the host of the daily podcast. And by the way, the answer probably is Bozo. It's just not Jim Cramer. But the Facebook group is right there. It's private. You know, there's a bunch of people, but I am getting a bunch of people asking about alpha picks, what I'm doing with alpha picks. Should I do this? Should I do that? You know, there's questions about Powell. It's just you know, and I said yesterday, is MicroStrategy a bubble? It's always a bubble when you don't own it, son. Don't worry. Your $7 dividend from CVS is coming in soon. Douche. If you own CVS over MicroStrategy, you shouldn't be listening to this show, to be honest with you. But I get a lot of questions, okay? I want to guide you to my YouTube channel, okay? Or to over to the newsletter, one or the other, and you're going to go to videos, okay? And then you're going to go down here to this video, the Alpha Picks portfolio, okay? That's where you go to have all of your answers questioned about how I'm handling the Alpha Picks portfolio. What is the Alpha Picks portfolio? Well, you click here down on the fourth link right there and you get over to here. The Alpha Picks portfolio is a group of, I think it's 36, 37 stocks right now. You get a pick on the first, you get a pick on the 15th. Okay. That's it. You buy on the first, you buy on the 15th. They tell you when to sell. So when I get questions about, you know, hey, they just told us to buy this one. Are you buying it? Blah, blah, blah. The answer is yes. They told us to sell this one. Are you selling it? The answer is yes. I did 6 to 8 months of trying to pick and choose which particular stocks in this portfolio I would buy, when to sell them. And I tried the 4-hour algorithm on this. It didn't work. The portfolio, again, is up 173% over the same time period. The S&P is up 55%. So it didn't work. So my process on the Alpha Picks is simply, when they tell me to buy, I buy. When they tell me to sell, I don't time it. I just go in there and sell at market price. There is no analysis. There is no thought process. There is no asking a question. There are no charts. There is nothing. I am trusting the process. Okay? This is perfect for people who have jobs. This is perfect for people who want to get home, go over their emails, and then you sell in the after hours, or you have an alert set up, or filter on Gmail. So when you get an alert from Alpha Picks, it alerts you on your phone, and you can set all that up. Okay? You don't need Alpha Picks to do that. But what they do email you every time. So when people ask me, what are you doing with this? What are you doing with that? And I say it's an alpha pick. Powell is a great story, POWL. And this was one that came up. Powell is recovering nicely. Of course it's recovering nicely. Now it's at 292. It's up 1.39% today. It opened yesterday at 270. After that earnings gap down, we're covering the gap. Guess where the gap is? 304. You're at 292. You're going to cover the gap. The MACD completely reset, the RSI reset. And when people ask me, what are you doing? Because the algorithm got you out with a 5% gain. What are you doing? Nothing. Alpha Picks didn't tell me to sell it. Alpha Picks didn't tell me to do a thing. So it's disingenuous of me to give you any other guidance. And I don't say, please don't take my response of I'm doing nothing as arrogance or as something that, I'm smarter than anybody. I'm dumb. People when I tell you guys I'm dumb, people don't believe me. I'm just dumb. Look, I tried to play the Alpha Picks portfolio. It didn't work. So I changed my strategy. That's what you do. If you don't have a strategy that works, you change the strategy. And so that's the lesson. That's the lesson. Now, yesterday, this video, if you don't know, this is the AI Strategy Lab. Okay? It's the AI Strategy Lab from Trendspider. If you go into Trendspider, it is right down here, right at the top, middle of your screen. It says AI training models. You can train AI on a model, on a stock, and get a strategy. When I say figure out a strategy that works, this one builds it for you. And when you train it on a model, it just builds it. Now it's in beta, so it's not perfect, and it does give some misleading stuff. So you've got to make sure that you hone it down. But what's great about Trendspider is you can go into this and say you want to do SPY on a 1 hour chart. You can train a model on SPY over the last 6 months on a 1 hour chart. It picks an indicator and it tells you, hey, this is probably a good strategy that will work. And it overlays it on the chart for you. And it tells you when to buy and sell. And it will put a strategy in there so that you can put it in and back test it. So when I tell you that you should have a strategy, this is one of your strategies that you can do. I haven't played with this model. I played with a little bit. It hasn't given me what I've wanted. So I am not an expert at this one, and they will have office hours on this one. So if you want to become an expert at this, go over to my link tree. It's the top link, Black Friday special, Trendspider. There is only 2 more days to save 67%. And I would urge you, if you are new, okay, I wish I had this. I had one training session just last week, and it blew my mind, things in Trendspider that I wasn't using. Okay, I have my process down. My process works. So to get something new into my strategy, it's going to take a Herculean task. But for you guys, I would urge you for $73 a month, get this advanced. Okay, the standard doesn't come with the AI Strategy Lab. Spend $4 more a month and you get the enhanced. This comes with a free one-on-one session. So not only do you get the one-on-one session, but you get AI Strategy Lab. And if it's within your budget, the advanced, you get not only get the AI Strategy Lab, you get unlimited for 1 year one-on-one training. And that's the key. Unlimited one-on-one training. That is a phenomenal deal. So make sure you're taking advantage of, for $885 for the year. That is a phenomenal deal. And yes, it was fantastic yesterday. This Trendspider AI Lab. It's not. Let's see. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's my notes on that one. Now let's talk about all the signs were there. If you're not in Bitcoin, and we'll go over Bitcoin a little bit. But look at how similar these patterns are, and look at how it broke out, and look at how Qs broke out from beginning of 2024, and now Bitcoin. Maybe the next year's the Bitcoin year. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But I would urge you, 5% of your portfolio should absolutely be in crypto or Bitcoin, because not only will 5%, if you lose 5%, say Bitcoin goes to zero. 5% shouldn't change your life, but 5% could turn into 100% gain next year. We'll go over what Michael Saylor said. So I would urge you, iBit and MicroStrategy are my plays. If you have other plays, go and have them. We got a social request about why I don't like this one. Well, we'll go over that. Biggest market movers of the day: Gap, Ross Stores, and Elastic, all up based on earnings. It was just earnings play. Reddit fell because there was a report. All of these shareholders on Reddit are actually getting ready to sell. So we can take a look at the chart of Reddit and we can say, okay, do you want to buy here? Well, Reddit is, let's see, in pre-market, it's down 7.4%. It's down 7, but the algorithm had you in here at $60. You're trading at 146 in pre-market. Yes, yesterday it closed at 156, from 158. But there's a report and a bunch of people are selling. The report is that a bunch of people will be selling. 24% of Reddit stock could hit the market. And so do you want to get in? I would say don't get in right here. Even though the algorithm probably had you a second buy right here at about 135 or so, I would wait for this one. It's just gone up too far, too fast. We don't even have a 50-day on the weekly chart because it's still an IPO. So I would wait for this one, but I do think Reddit is a buy the dip situation. So I like that one. Now we'll talk about Google. Okay, Google, Alphabet, tomato, Voss, vase, whatever you want to call it. But Alphabet slips on the DOJ confirms push to split off Google Chrome. And Google was down about 4% yesterday. It's down in the pre-market as well. We'll go over the chart. This is a big story because here's your decision. Do you want to hold on while they get bogged down in DOJ stuff? Because I do think a split up Google is actually worth more than the company together. And I would argue that that's probably not a bad thing to have Google split up. Now, I buy GOOG just because GOOG is what the company buys when they buy back stock. And with Larry and Sergey owning so much stock, the voting rights on GOOGL make no sense whatsoever. None. Absolutely nothing. Now, we've broken down below this support line at 171. We covered this gap up to 183, and then it just rejected off. The all-time highs back here in July, we haven't gotten to reach yet. Now, when you go to the weekly chart, you can see it's just trading sideways. There's no real panic. The MACD has reset itself, and the RSI is down at 55. I will tell you, there's other things that are going on. OpenAI ponders the release of their web browser. Remember, OpenAI released a search going after Google's bread and butter, which is search. Now they're going after the browser, which could affect both search and the browser relevance of that. And Google Anthropic deal could be next. Again, there is a concerted effort to go after Google from the DOJ since they won that trial. So do you want to stay around with it? I've got a large retirement account position in Google. That probably will get unwound over the next few weeks, month. I want to see what Google does because here on the 4-hour, it just looks weak. The algorithm got you out. I don't want to sell based on the algorithm right now. I want to sell into strength. This is a long-term position. I don't need the cash right now. Okay, I've got enough cash. I can throw more money into Bitcoin if I need to. I would like to move this into something like Bitcoin. I want it into something a little more risky, a little more apt to move. Do I want to buy Bitcoin right now? I bought Bitcoin yesterday. I'm kind of fine with my Bitcoin stuff. I own MicroStrategy based on the 4-hour algorithm. We'll get into all that. But again, I want to unwind my Google position. I don't want this being a top 5 pick anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. It just reminds me of the Microsoft stuff. The Microsoft stuff back in the early 2000s. And we can go back and look at Microsoft, and I'll pull up a monthly chart so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Look, so you had the dot bomb in 2000 where it was trading at 48. Here's 2007 where it's trading at 34. And then here's 2012 where it's trading at 31. All of this, it's called the lost decade, but all of that was Microsoft. It's the bomber years. They were wrapped up in everything. This was, 2004 was where bombers saying, why does somebody want to pay $200 for a phone? And it's subsidized from the company. No, that's the iPhone he was talking about. The douchebag launched Zune, which was a music player. He didn't think the iPhone was going to work. So I want to see how Google responds. I think they're doing great with AI, but that DOJ stuff is going to weigh on the stock. So in my mind, I think it's an unwind. It's going to stay in the core portfolio. It is something that should be in your portfolio. Just for me, I'd rather have my money somewhere else because I think it's going to work. Yes, we're in an AI world. And yes, I think Google is leading AI. But do I think that this one's getting back to 190 during this time with the DOJ and with OpenAI targeting it so much? No. So I'm a little bit concerned about that one. So those 3 articles about the DOJ with Chrome, OpenAI, and then Google Anthropic, it all came on one day. Now let's talk about a stock that you should absolutely be in. This is NVIDIA. Okay. What you see on your screen is all the analysts taking their price targets either down or up, maintaining or down or up. This one, Rosenblatt, today raised the price target, NVIDIA, to 220 from 200. Citi raised their price target from 175 from 170 to 175. JP Morgan raised the price target from 155 to 170. Goldman Sachs raised the price target from 150 to 165. You kind of getting the feeling there? The feeling like NVIDIA, it might be time at 146 to actually load in. I will tell you, I do think that 140 is the support line on this one. 140 right there, I think, is the support line. And with all those analysts taking the price up, we can go and look at it. The algorithm, the quant has it as a hold. Why does it have it as a hold? It's just a valuation. And by the way, NVIDIA rarely is a strong buy. but Wall Street says it's a strong buy. And the average price target right now of all those 64 analysts that cover it is 169. That's a 15% upside from where you are now. I continue to think this is one of the safest plays in the market right now because, Brad Gerstner yesterday, he bought more yesterday. It's his second largest position. This is a man I respect totally as far as his stock picking ability. The Intels of the world are going to continue to lose share, and the NVIDIAs of the world will gain share. So if you want to be long AI, you have to own NVIDIA. You have to own NVIDIA. That's what he says. So I'm making the case right now. If you don't own NVIDIA, buy an ETF with NVIDIA in it. Just have exposure to it. And more than likely, you do have an ETF that has NVIDIA in it, but just make sure you do. Because you want exposure to that. It's in my mind, again, one of the safest plays. Is it a top 5 holding for me? I don't actually know. I went over it before. I think it's like 7% of my portfolio, but 60% of my portfolio is Apple. I consider Apple the safest play in the market. So one that he said yesterday, Gerstner, that he mentioned yesterday, he sold his Uber. So he sold all of the Uber stock that he had. He was just on there touting how great Uber is, and he bought Tesla. And the quote, 2025 is going to be about robo-taxis. With Elon in there with Trump, I guarantee you that they on federal highways, I will be able to look away and go to sleep in my Tesla while driving that on open highways. Okay? We were impressed. Uber has a hugely disruptive force coming in the case of Tesla. Tesla is running away with full self-driving. Right now, my Tesla, you can't full self-drive it. There's no freaking way I'm sending that thing out on its own. Uber is up 0.27. We've seen that slide. Okay? 61 is your support. You're trading at 69 right now. If you get down to 61, I would load up on this stock, because I want to trade that stock. Okay, right now you can see there's the 61 right there. There's the 82 that we hit a couple of times. That's going to be resistance. This is going to be your happy range right here in Uber, because I think Uber has Uber Eats. And here's the thing. If for some reason Tesla figures out full self-driving, you're going to have Uber have a bunch of Teslas on the road doing full self-driving. It's not like Elon next year can all of a sudden turn around and just like launch the robo-taxi on its own. No, it's the current vehicles that will be doing full self-driving. And it's not coming next year. He can't make that vehicle that fast. They just can't. And Uber has the lead. Tesla may be able to do their own app where, yes, you drive your own Tesla and Tesla's, request the app, blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee you, Uber is going to have something. Remember, the strategy of robo-taxis, the economics have not been put out there. Waymo is not making money. The strategy, if Uber is, remember, Uber drivers pay for the maintenance of their own vehicles. They pay for the gas of their own vehicles. That is all going to be on the onus of Tesla for the maintenance and the energy. So they're going to have to either charge more, but Uber does pay a lot to their drivers. But again, where's the balance? So I don't think you throw out Uber like Brad does. Brad makes some crazy stuff sometimes. I don't argue with them. The man is a brilliant investor, but I do think it's a little crazy. Now, Snowflake went nuts yesterday. Well, let's bring up the Tesla chart, because I'll just look at the Tesla chart real quick. I've said it before. You're going back to those all-time highs. Right now, you're at 341. The all-time highs are 414. You will go back there. Will you go back there right now? The MACD, it's not stretched. Look at this. If you just look at the last time the MACD was 25 points over the oscillator, the last couple of times it's pulled back. So I don't think that you buy it here. But if you want a strategy to buy it, go and look at the 4-hour strategy. The 4-hour strategy had you in at 256. Again, if you want the strategy, just sign up for Trendspider. It's nice and easy. It's a Black Friday sale. And there you go. If you're in at 256, you got a nice little profit going and you're trading sideways. And the MACD is resetting itself on the 4-hour, and the RSI is coming down. It's at 64. Now, Snowflake went nuts yesterday. The earnings were that good. Snowflake, I would argue, still is a trade in this weekly range. I would argue that you could buy it here and still be fine because I think it pumps to 200. But Citi Research yesterday released their large cap recommendation list. And on information technology, Snowflake's one of them. Price target, $183. Earnings per share estimate for 2025, 89 cents. 183, you're trading at 174. Let it cool off a little bit, but trade it within this range. I would absolutely trade it within this range. You just got your 200-day, and it's at the top of this range at 193. I think you've got that on a pump. Now let's talk about MicroStrategy because MicroStrategy got killed yesterday. Citron released a short overheated stock report. Now in the pre-market, it's up 1%. It's hanging around that $400 mark. I would argue MicroStrategy, we had a question from Pavan yesterday about MicroStrategy. Why is it trading 5 times when Bitcoin's only up like 2 times? And that's because it's a levered play on Bitcoin. And what they do, and Michael Saylor was just on CNBC. They had the largest Bitcoin purchase in history over the last week. Okay? Largest Bitcoin purchase in history. This guy ain't selling. And they asked him, they said, we just had somebody on CNBC who said that by the end of next year with what's going on in Washington, that Bitcoin will be at 1 million. 1 million per coin. Okay, let's just go and see what it's at today because it's at all-time highs. It's at 97 right now. Okay, it's at 97. At 97,000. So if it goes to 1 million, that's 10 times your money. 10 times your money by the end of next year. That's what the senator or whoever it was saying. Michael Saylor thinks it's 13 million by the end of next year. 13 million. That means if you put $10,000 in, you're all of a sudden a millionaire by the end of next year. Now, I'm not saying put $10,000 into it, into something. I am saying if you have 5% of your current net worth, okay, don't include your house, don't include money that you can't spend, but include like your portfolio, your retirement portfolio. You can buy IBIT in a retirement portfolio and have $1 million in there by the end of next year. And maybe you want to pull it out to, pay the penalty. Just buy Bitcoin, buy IBIT. I bought more yesterday. Now, MicroStrategy, it's not out as far as the algorithm goes. It's not even close. I will tell you, just knowing the algorithm right now, it's not even close to getting out. I am trading this on the algorithm. You can see back here in April. We'll pull this back, okay? This got you in at 46 on January 24th. In April, it went up to 192. And then it pulled back. And the algorithm got you out, okay? And then it saved you from this. It got you back in at 131. And then it got you back in at 122. A little loss there, 13%. Got you back in at 122. It doesn't time the absolute top and the bottom. So I'm not worried about it. I'm trading on this algorithm. I just think that Bitcoin is going, when you troll Trump, this is the level Bitcoin would have to reach under Trump to match Biden. Trump wants to be the Bitcoin president. And as long as it just got to $100,000 under Biden, you don't think that Trump wants this shit at 1 million? Honestly, just buy Bitcoin. There is not one person in that administration that doesn't have Bitcoin in their portfolio. So get it. Just get it. Now, Shai Bulor, he's doing really well. He called Palantir. He called Tesla. He called Rocket Lab. He called Snowflake. He called Bitcoin. He called CrowdStrike. He called all of these. Okay. He's now calling IONQ. And I had a discussion with him yesterday about IONQ. And he said, I asked him, I said, with Google and NVDIA talking about quantum computing, does it make sense to buy IONQ? He said, absolutely. It makes sense. Don't worry about it, but don't buy it here. And those were his words. It's run up too much. Doesn't mean it can't go up, continue to go up. It's down 1% at 32. But I would feel much better if it pulled back to 20. Between 17 and 20, probably. That would be the price that I would be looking at IONQ. If you don't know about it, go and do your research on it. But Shai has killed it. Like I said, I am completely honored and grateful that I get his insight and I'm able to ask him questions on Spaces. But I know Brandon loves to hear this one. IONQ, it's the real deal. And that's what Shai says. And trust me, with his track record, I believe him now. I believe him. Now, Reddit dropped. Reddit was down 7%. Yeah, or I'm sorry. Yes, it was up 15%. In pre-market, it's down 7%. Buy the dip. But don't buy the dip right now. It's just, you've got to understand that between the fundamentals and the technicals, it's just technically too high right now. If this one pulls back to 130, you can see that high right there at 130. You spent one candle. This is a 4-hour, so it's not like hugely like great, but you spent one candle that right there, one candle right there. I think if you pulled that, the market just opened, so you're seeing it right there at 145. If you pull down to the 130s, I think you could buy Reddit. I like this company. The issue is you've got a ton of names that are going to sell this. It could, 25% of the actual float could start being sold. So that's how much it's going. So it's a little bit crazy, but again, that's probably not a bad one to do. Now, Citigroup released its large equity, large cap list. And you can see communication services, consumer discretionary, consumer staples, energy, with all their price targets, everything. This is a good list to have. So pick, 5 stocks and do what this guy does, FinChat. Just pick 6 stocks from the largest hedge funds. Okay. Stanley Druckenmiller, number 1. Natera. Okay. Chuck Aker, Airbnb. Dev Canisteria, ASML. Bill Ackman. He brought Brookfield and Nike. Pat Dorsey, APP, that's AppLovin. So AppLovin, he initiated a position, has already made 10% on his entire portfolio. Dennis Hong, Procore. So research those things, understand that you can pick stuff along the way. Now, HIMS, this is one that people seem to love. I'm not a big fan of HIMS. They got a win in a court yesterday where it just won't pull back their they'll allow them to continue the compound pharmacy of the Eli Lilly stuff. It's a little bit of a ding to Lilly. Again, Lilly is one of those that's just trading down based on RFK being in there and some of this stuff where it was clear on their earnings. They said we have a fantastic demand and we're completely able to meet that demand, but they're not. And so the FDA said, hey, we're going to allow the compound pharmacies to continue. That's all it is. I would urge you to trade this one. I don't like this one, but again, you do you, boo. That's a you thing. Now, earnings next week, we got a bunch. I'm going to cover them on the paid newsletter because we got Dell, we got HPQ. Those are SMCI related, CrowdStrike. You got Workday, Autodesk. You got Best Buy, which is fun to do. You got Abercrombie and Finch, which is a alpha pick. You got Macy's. You got Zoom. I would urge you to take advantage of the Black Friday sale on the Seeking Alpha bundle. So there's 2 Black Friday sales, and I call it the Gary bundle. But if you get Trendspider and you get this bundle, which includes Seeking Alpha Premium, which gives you a great, I'm going to go over social requests. I know nothing about these stocks that people ask me about. I'm going to use Seeking Alpha Premium, and it's the quant, and I'm going to use the virtual analyst report, and I'm going to look at those, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. Then I'm going to use Trendspider and say from a chart perspective, what do I think of these stocks? And so you get the perfect Gary bundle. Well, you don't have to ask a douche on the internet. Number 1 rule, don't listen to a douche on the internet. I am that douche on the internet. So don't listen to me. If you're asking me about stocks, you're asking the wrong person because the person you should be asking is yourself. So let's talk about Ted. Ted from the Facebook group wants me to look at ALAB. ALAB. This is Astera Labs. This is one that just IPO'd. I'm not a big fan of IPOs. This just IPO'd back in March. So you don't really have a ton of stuff to go over. So, you want at least a year for something to actually, make sense. But ALAB here, you can see bottom left, upper right. And then at $41, the algorithm got you in. So Ted, I would ask you, do you have the 4-hour algorithm? And if not, why not? Because the algorithm told you to buy here at 41. Now it's the only winning position that you have, but it seems to have timed the bottom. It seems to have. Your average win right now is 148. You've made 148% off of this since September. Since September. You can go and look at a weekly chart here. We don't have moving averages, so I don't trust it. So is it in my wheelhouse? No. Let's see what Seeking Alpha says about it. Because Astera Labs, I don't know that the quant covers this one. No, it's not covered, so we don't have a virtual report. But you can go over and use Seeking Alpha, and you can see the valuation. They're not making money. They're not making money. You can see their growth, 44% revenue year over year. Fantastic. You can see their profitability, 72% gross margin. That's great. Their momentum, unbelievable. It would be an A. 6 months, up 41%. 3 months, you're up 156%. So again, do I like it? No, I just don't like IPOs. It's not in my wheelhouse. Now, do I like the actual company? Yeah, I know a little bit about it, but I'm waiting for it to do something. Wall Street says it's a buy. So, 13 analysts cover it. They say the average price target is 100. It's trading at 107. Do you want to buy it at 107? I'd say no. I would say you should have gotten my algorithm and bought it at 41. From the Facebook group, Butch, Gary, what are your thoughts on the Google dip? Wasn't expecting this. Fed pushing for forced Chrome sale. I'm going to buy this dip, CMP, 166 div. Yeah, he talks about moving averages and stuff like that. Google, in my mind, I think Google is 100% not a buy the dip. I'm looking to trim down Google. And I don't say that because I expect it to get back down to these 130s. If it gets back down to these 130s, we've got bigger problems in the market than just Google. But I do expect Google to go through an extended period of problems here. You can't trade this, look at that one. This was 2022, and then you've started to go up. And then I think you're going to trade sideways until the middle of next year, to be honest with you. I just don't see it breaking that 193. And because what's the push up on 193? The push up on 193 is that all of this stuff with the Justice Department is taken off, all of the EU stuff is taken off, or that OpenAI completely fails. That one of those three things has to happen for it to push up above there. From a Wall Street perspective, it's got a $204 price target. That's 22% from where you're trading now. So for long term, I don't think it's a bad, if you don't have Google, I don't think it's a bad position to start. But for me, as a top 5 position in my portfolio, I'm just not going to do it. And if you want to see the virtual analyst report, you can see competitors and unique value. Google's a hold in the quant. Valuation presents a challenging valuation landscape. The price to sales is 6.03. Google growth demonstrates strong growth with year-over-year revenue, 14% profitability. They have fantastic profitability. Momentum, it's notably strong. Revisions, trends in earnings estimates are highly positive. So the only thing is the valuation. But I think that overhang is where I want to start trimming it. And when you look at the concerns, Alphabet faces significant regulatory risks, including ongoing antitrust litigation. Heavy investment in AI infrastructure has raised concerns about immediate profitability. I think that one's off the table because I think they're doing a great job of actually monetizing it. So the rise of generative AI poses a threat to Google's search business, with competitors like OpenAI gaining traction. This is a phenomenal tool in Seeking Alpha. And again, the bundle gets you this. At $500 for the year, you get this and Alpha Picks. Look at that report. I mean, that just went over exactly what I did. So if you're listening to me, you should be buying Seeking Alpha, because there's no reason to ask me about it. Everything that I just went over that I know about Google, about my own stock, you can know too, just from having that virtual analyst report. From email, Brian, what do you think about rail? Let's see. I think it's a railroad one. Freight Car America. It's had a strong quant rating and Wall Street buy. I've been trading it a lot lately for recent profits. Anytime it dips under 10, buy it and sell it when it poses up pretty reliably. Wondering how the Trendspider algorithm does with that one. Also, NNE, though, has, yeah. So I'm going to look at rail for you. NNE is just nuclear. Just buy it. Rail, we're going to look at the 4-hour algorithm for you. I don't like this one. It has you out right now. Got you in at 1043 and has you out. I mean, the 4-hour looks good. You can trade the 4-hour algorithm on this one. You can absolutely trade the 4-hour algorithm on this one. Makes you 67%. You win 30% of the time. I think there's a better strategy on this one. I think this 65-minute algorithm, which I also give you, this one makes you 50% over 8 months. I think this one might provide you better entries because it just reacts quicker. But you could trade it on the 4-hour. The 4-hour has you out right now. There's no way I'm touching this one. When you go in August from $3 up to $15, again, it might be a strong buy here. It's a hold from the quant. And the reason it's a hold is the profitability. Remember, those quant ratings are good. You can pull up the virtual analyst report. This is one that has a virtual analyst report. So you don't need me to tell you anything. Pull up the virtual analyst report, Brian. I do think you should get the 4-hour algorithm, though, because I do think if you're scared of this one, the 4-hour algorithm, again, it wins 30% of the time. Your average win is 29%. Back here, it wasn't winning. It definitely wasn't winning. But you've got to make the determination of, do you believe in this company or not? For me, I don't think this one, for a rail freight car America, just doesn't seem exciting to me. So again, that's why you buy the Gary bundle. You get the Seeking Alpha Premium and you get the Trendspider so that you can do your own analysis, because it just doesn't excite me. Hey, Gary, this was the show. I just got Seeking Alpha and Alpha Picks bundle through your link tree. I'm starting a new job and I won't have time to manage my portfolio. I let Alpha Picks do it for me. Just want you to know your thoughts on integrating 5 Alpha Picks strong buy stocks into my portfolio to see a difference in my returns. I've checked your video about the 50K portfolio. Fantastic. Franco, perfect. I've checked it out, but I would like to keep some of my other names in my portfolio like NVDIA, Amazon, Visa, Bank of America, and just to deal with the one interface. Okay, so here's the way I do it, Franco. $50,000 isn't my entire portfolio. I've got, a nice 7-figure portfolio. I bought $50,000. That's not even 1% of my portfolio. So I don't worry about it. I just buy it. I started a separate account so that it's there. In Fidelity, you can just open up a separate account so you can track stuff differently. I just opened up another account. I have it sitting. And what I'm going to do with that $50,000 is I'm just going to buy it and hold it. What I would do with a portfolio like yours, you just got a new job. So I would buy the Amazon, the NVIDIA, the Visa, the Bank of America. Honestly, those are in the core portfolio. I think you could hold on to those. I don't think there's any problem with having those mixed in with the Alpha Picks. If you're starting a new job, the way I would manage something like a Bank of America is I would just, on a Saturday, look at a chart, a weekly chart, and say, hey, does it look strong? Well, shit, it's trading at the top of the Bollinger Band, so I want to get out of that one? No. And then next week, look at the damn chart. If it dips down and it's weak, maybe, it loses confirmation under that 9-day, maybe you sell it. But as far as buying the 5 strong Alpha Picks and putting them in your portfolio, here's my thought on that. I don't think if it just turned into a strong buy, I think that's when the quant is kind of better than when it's been a strong buy for a very long time. And we can go and look at one that I constantly bring up, and I've been wrong about this one, is PSIX. And this is a very small company, market cap of $719 million, not billion, $1 million. And it trades in this crazy range, and it's always super, like yesterday it was down 5%, today it's down 1.4%. But year to date, you're up 1,426%. Now on Wednesday, this analyst just came out, strong sell. It's not covered. There, it says strong buy from Wall Street. There's one freaking analyst that covers it. Ignore that. Ignore that. Okay? You want to pull up this virtual analyst report and you want to look at it. So for me, the 5 strong buys, you have the bundle. Pull up this report and say, do I want to add to my position? I would add to it in your personal portfolio, but I would have it as part of Seeking Alpha's, Alpha Picks portfolio. I wouldn't add to it there. And I go back to the question about how to manage the Alpha Picks portfolio. I go back to, I tried it. I failed. So it's not, the strategy of picking stocks in that portfolio didn't work for me. It just didn't work. And so I can't give you guidance about whether your strategy of picking those stocks is going to work, because it didn't work for me. It just didn't work. So I would urge you to find your strategy, whatever works. And if it doesn't work, you just get out of it and move on to a different strategy. You can try what you want, but I would urge you just, hey, this isn't coming from an arrogant standpoint. This is, Steve Kress and team know better than I do. And I, there is nothing that I can tell. All I can point to is 170. I wasn't making 173% off of the stocks that I picked. And I tried it for 8 months. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just going all in on the portfolio. And I'm glad I did. I'm super glad I did, because I'm up. I'm up more than the S&P. It paid to do that over the VOO stuff. So Zach from Trendspider, he says, I agree with IBIT, but why not do something like BITO, which pays a dividend? Okay. Where do you think that money's coming from? They're getting the money from somewhere. BITO is getting the money from somewhere. It pays a crazy 46.14% dividend. Where's the money coming from? So Zach, why IBIT over that? We can select symbols and we'll go to IBIT. We'll just take out S&P. And I want to do total return on this chart. I don't want to do just the performance of price return, because that's unfair, because BITO does pay a 45%. So if we just look at the last 6 months and we look at this, IBIT is making 41%. BITO is making 30%. And that's with the dividend. That's with the dividend. You're making 35%. So why do I like IBIT? Because there's two things. BITO, it follows the futures of Bitcoin, not actual Bitcoin. Okay, so at some point, that's going to divert. The fund seeks to benchmark the performance of its portfolio against the Bloomberg Galaxy Bitcoin Index. So I don't even know what that is, but it is what it is. I trust IBIT. BITO assets under management, 2.88 billion. Let's see what IBIT is. IBIT has, 47 billion. So it's, 40 times, 50 times? I don't know. But again, why? If you need income, Zach, I'm not going to say don't buy BITO. If you need income, go and get it. I just think it's going to underperform. So we've got a huge list of scans. There is an enormous list of scans. Way too much for me to go over. Excuse me one moment. Stop. Okay. A huge list. There's way too much for me to go over. Again, I think it points to the fact that we're in a bull market. And there's a lot of stocks in our watch list. There's a lot of stocks that are in a bullish. The Qs just went positive. So I do think that, again, there's nothing that seems to hold this stuff down. So it is what it is. But again, I would urge you, next week, I think I'm going to do Monday. I may be in Monday, may not. I got to drive to New Jersey. I definitely probably won't do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Just so you know. Maybe Friday, but probably not. Because I'm going to be have the mashed potato hangover. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Again, the Black Friday sale, remember Trendspider, it ends this week. It goes from 67%. And the Black Friday sale on Seeking Alpha, get the bundle. Just get the bundle. If you want them separately, you can absolutely get, say you don't want alpha picks and you just want Seeking Alpha because you want those analyst reports, you can get this one $90 off. It's the Black Friday deal. Normally it's $30 off. So you're saving $90. It just makes sense for the year to get it. And say you don't care about the analyst reports, you want to just use FinViz, I would urge you, Alpha Picks is a great deal. Set aside a certain amount of money in your retirement portfolio. Again, it's a no-brainer deal. I use the mindless portion of I'm just going to buy on the 1st and the 15th when they tell me, and then I'm going to sell whenever they send me an email to sell. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to time it the second that they send you the email. You could do it, during that day. You could do it the next day. Once every 6 months, you go in and you rebalance your portfolio. That's it. Any questions, hit me up. Remember, on the link tree, it has everything here. My email address is right in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, take care. Have a great weekend. The paid newsletter subscribers, I will have a bonus podcast out for you tomorrow. And if you want to join it, remember, it's just dailystockpick.substack.com. You can click join and join me. There's 3 different levels. There's a monthly, there's a yearly, and then there's a founding member where you can schedule a one-on-one with me once a month if you'd like. Okay. Take care. Have fun. Enjoy.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now.